hard to grasp the sheer size and complexity of the Moors Valley. So we've come up here to the signal box to have a look here and see if this can help us. Steve here is signalman.
Yes, hello there. Right, yes. As you can see, this is the inside of the Kingsmere East signal box. We have two signal boxes. The west box round the back controls the movements in and out of the yard in the morning and the evening. And this is where we control the railway from in essence. It's a 28 lever frame, Stevens frame, fully track circuited. It's all mechanical or electrically locked. Most of the signals and the points are run on compressed air nowadays, which does mean that you can switch this box out when there's nobody here to operate it, and the railway can run itself automatically.
So, under those circumstances, how many trains can we run at once?
When it's closed out, you can run 3 comfortably. That's not a problem. Today we've got 6 out, which does entail signalmen to be here, plus we've got the shuttle service running. But we can run up to about 8 or so.
Dear me.
So it does get a bit hectic.
Yes, really quite busy. I'm not a signalling chap myself, and I have to say this just looks like an eclectic collection of interesting bits and pieces, but yeah. Presumably it's all here for a reason.
It is, yes. Yep. So the lever frame came from Beckton Gasworks. Most of the instruments are privately owned by individuals who volunteer here. So we've got the bells to the west box, which is the way the two boxes communicate when they're open. So they describe the trains. This signal box diagram is drawn by somebody who works professionally on the railway.
Right.
And this one is about 5 years old at the moment. And since that time, we have carried out a number of changes and improvements. So we do have a new diagram to fit in later in the year once the high season has ended.
I must say your track diagram looks immensely complicated, and that kind of simply highlights how many options you've got available for running through. Yeah,
the diagram here shows what the lever frame controls. So we've got the route setting panel down at Lakeside, which is again separate, and we have the miniature lever frame, which controls movements in and out of the new yard.
So the railway, basically, is it just a loop? Or
yeah, it is, yes. Yep, pretty much a loop, yeah. We can run, say the normal direction of travel is as it's running today. We can run completely in reverse as well. All the main running lines are reversible, so we can sort of overcomplicate things if we want to.
Indeed. And of course you can just cross over here, there and everywhere.
Yes, yeah, pretty much, yeah. So it's all interlocked. So you need to set your points first, which is the black levers.
Yep.
So we'll do that now. Hopefully. Make sure we get a detection.
So these dials effectively confirm that points have moved over, yes?
Yes, yes. All the dials show you the position of the points,
yep.
And also some of the signals as well.
Understand.
And then, say it's all track circuited, so we can trace the train as he moves along the track.
How long has this been up and running like this?
This has been here. Well, the railway's just celebrated its 20th anniversary. So this signal box has been here since then, and say over those 20 years has seen quite a few changes, improvements and expansions really.
Developed with the railway?
Yes, yeah.
Well,
as need sort of must.
Indeed. I must say you have a really busy time here at the moment.
We do, yes.
So yeah. You're doing this at the weekends. What do you do for a living for the rest of the week?
Well, for the rest of the week I go have a rest, and I actually work in a signal box on the railway. So.
Jim, we've spent the day here at this most remarkable railway, a very professional railway. you've been running, what, 20 years now? How did it start?
Well, I belong to a club, Malden District Society of Model Engineers, and I got a bit too deeply involved with that in a way, and I decided I had to do it on my own. So we found a site, which was Tucktonia, down near Christchurch, and we ran that from 1981 to 85. So we did 5 seasons down there. Grand Metropolitan, that owned the site, sold it halfway through our contract, and we didn't overly get on with the new owners, and we knew that really we didn't want to stay there, so we were looking around very heavily from year 3 to 4. We came up with this site eventually through the Dorset County Council by going inquiring about Avon Valley Park, and they said no, that's no good, but Wimborne District Council are building a brand new park over at Moores Valley.
It's an extraordinary setup. It's quite a long line, best part of a mile, I believe.
It is a mile.
Yep. And frankly, it goes through some very pretty countryside, and there's lakes and woods and that sort of thing. Has it always been like that, or?
No, it looked like the Somme when we came. It was mud everywhere because they were excavating the lake, and they spread it all over the place. They dug this cutting we're standing in out at the time, and it all had to start from new. So it's all matured over that time and all infilled. It was absolutely raw and bare.
That's extraordinary, because it has established beautifully by now. Buildings, I gather this is effectively an old farm.
Yes, this was King's Farm, and when I saw it, we came up first and had a look at it, I thought, this has got to be the main station. I can see this is a cutting. We're standing up on the roadside, looking down into it. That's got to be the biggest come-on anybody's ever going to have on a railway. And I thought, that's it. I know it's the wrong end of the park, but is it? Because at the end of the day, people get on at the other end, come up here and find it's even bigger.
It also strikes me that, frankly, they've kind of built the park around your railway, which is the right way round, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. When the park opened, there was only the railway and the children's play area. There was nothing else. There's no visitor centre, no golf course. That was under construction, but there was nothing else operational. So the day I said, well, we're ready to go, that was the day the park opened.
Extraordinary. So you had a nice clean sheet of paper, as it were. Now, this railway, miniature railway, is not the right description for it at all. It strikes me as being a very professionally and competently run railway, full stop.
Well, our whole approach is it's a very small narrow gauge railway, and as far as we're concerned, everything is 12 inches to the foot. Absolutely everything.
As are your passengers
as the passengers are, yes. They're not scaled down at all.
And when are you open?
Well, we're open every weekend throughout the whole year, even when it's bitterly cold and it's all going wrong everywhere else. We're open, even if nobody comes, we're open. And then all the school half-term holidays, the main holidays, from Springbank holiday to mid-September, we're open daily.
Right.
So it's over 200 days a year anyway.
Now, my other specific interest, aside from the railway, is the engines you've got. Now, the reason I love them is because they are not miniature engines, they are just small engines.
That's
and of course,
exactly
to
right.
do that, you've developed your own construction techniques. I mean, your building philosophy isn't exactly model engineering, is it?
We don't model engineer at all. I need to be able to get my hands on all this stuff, and model engineering's too twee and fiddly, and of course it wouldn't last. Whereas these will last, well, I don't know when Sapper was last done. The first time it was overhauled, it got 25,000 on the clock. So, you know, we are reckoning on doing on a whole lot of mileage. Jason, which is out there somewhere, I think today, I'm not sure.
We've seen her, certainly.
Right, well, that does 2,000 miles a year anyway.
So it's a very highly orchestrated.
Well, you have to get the choreography right, otherwise people will think, well, it doesn't look like a railway.
But of course, we've been here all day, and actually, every time you look round, there's a train coming or going.
Yeah, that's what you want. Entertainment.
Well, it certainly works for us at any rate, Jim. Yes.
Yeah. Well, of course, and this is the high season, and normally a busy day, we'll have 3 12-coach trains out, and each one of those got 72 seats on. And when they're running, it's only a 7-minute headway on that.
That's moving quite a lot of people.
That's commuter
impressive.
stuff.
Yes,
Absolutely commuter stuff.
When we were looking round earlier, we noticed, frankly, locos everywhere. How many have you got here?
I think it might be 17 at the moment. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to recount.
So 17 locos, plus actually a couple more in the building as well.
Yes. Well, there are a number. Some of them are piles of bits, some are a bit more constructed, and others are getting further along.
This railway, vast, full of equipment, all the rest. Frankly, over the course of the years, it will have taken a lot of paying for. There's an awful lot of money invested in this. Now, this infers that actually you're making a good job of running a railway. How do you do it, mate?
I don't know. It's a matter of investing in it to start with, and then seeing how successful I can be. And when I saw this site, although it's only 1.5 miles from the main road, that was the key. It was to drive down one road, turn right into the park, and you're there. When I first came, people thought I was absolutely mad coming out onto this farmland with no hope of anybody ever coming. And, you know, we've got 750,000 people visiting the park every year. So, you know, we like to get our percentage.
Yes. So you run this purely as a hobby?
No, absolutely not. No, the railway is run for profit, otherwise I've got to go and do work somewhere else. No. It's a matter of getting the public to pay for your hobby, and I'm afraid that's exactly how I've manipulated it to do that. I mean, it was obvious to me that the park was going to be tremendously successful, and it is, which means that we earn enough money to be able to plough it back and keep the thing interesting. It's a bit like, I don't know, the Colosseum. When you've thrown the lions, the Christians to the lions, there's nothing more to do. We need to keep doing little things all the time. You've got to keep the interest up.
Yes, partly for the customers, but also, of course, for your volunteers.
And for me. And for me. Yes, we have to, we've got to be interested in it all the time. And it's such a large size, the critical mass is so big, you can't possibly be bored, because there are things happening all the time. Things need replacing, repairing, changing. The engines don't necessarily stay the same, they change in the light of experience. And we've no qualms about taking an engine apart, cutting it up and changing it completely. We did that to Medea a few years ago. It's now 6 inches longer than it was. It had 3 inches inserted at both ends of the engine, in the middle, not quite on the ends, which means it's a lot longer. It's got bigger boiler, bigger cylinder, more power, more everything, and it's now become a really useful engine as against an engine that's, okay, it's small, but we don't actually need a small engine, we want a bigger engine.
Yes, well,
so make it bigger.
Absolutely. I mean, you've just described a real living railway as opposed to, as it were, a preserved museum piece, as it were.
Oh, that's right. We need the engines to do the job. And at the end of the day, this is doing the job.
It certainly is. They're having a lovely time as well.
Exactly.
So there we have it, the Moors Valley Railway, a truly spectacular railway and an unequalled collection of locomotives. Absolutely wonderful.